Steve Evans, a busy week. Where do we start?
Yeah, it's been busy. Obviously, we've come down from Stoke, and there's quite a lot of sickness around after Stoke with the players. So they had an extra day off, and we've had different players missing at different times, and we've had come through the transfer deadline day, etc. So, but hopefully we're all back in today and getting prepared for Sutton.
Was there any fallout after the Stoke game? Did you get the call that you were hoping for from the referees?
Yeah, I've got to give Mike and Erd the greatest respect, really. They're very honest. And I think they've looked at all the incidents which we raised, which basically came down to, 4 or 5 key incidents. Obviously, the key incidents for us is not giving a penalty for handball because his arms are in an unnatural position. Them having a penalty, which I think everyone, including the most biased of Stoke fans, have seen on social media saying it's just clearly wrong in decision. Repeated fouling should have led to a second yellow. And if we were really being pretentious, we'd say, what about the Jake Taylor one with a little nudge in the back? Because anywhere else on the pitch is a foul. But in reality, we don't expect to get them. But I think Herd Webb summed it up perfectly to me is the game changer or the cup tie killer is the penalty that Stoke got awarded. And without labouring on the point, Herd's words were, when was a penalty ever given when someone wins the ball nice and cleanly, as he did? And so thank you, Herd. And thank you, Mike, for the real honesty. The referee had a bad day. And we do have bad days as managers and players and coaches. So, we'll never forget it because you'll never forget it. But we move on. And I had a lot of empathy from Howard and Mike to how we got officiated that day. And just in terms of poor decisions, not questioning the integrity of David Webb. He's a very honest guy, as he's shown by running around and telling my players it shouldn't have been a penalty.
Is there a degree of frustration from a manager and players as well? Particularly the offside and the handball rules. There's been so much tinkering around with them. People just don't know where you are with them.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of interpretation of without VAR. I think if the best way that it got summed up with Mike was if there's VAR in the stadium, we have a penalty for the handball because his arm is up, it's unnatural, and they don't have a penalty. So there's 2 match complete changers, and there's possibly someone in the referee's ear, not an individually is that a double yellow card for the boy, but I think someone would be in the referee's ear saying that's his 5th or 6th one. So it just reminded him. Is there a call for equaling it out? I think someone made a great point. If it's the FA Cup, certainly when you go Championship round and above, I think everyone expects to get VAR. VAR is a game changer for Premier League referees because everyone would be screaming this season if there was no VAR because some of the decisions that are getting overturned there's almost 1 or 2 every week now in the Premier League, isn't there? So, and that's the elite referees. So we know how tough it is for those guys to officiate. Even down at our level, it's really tough. So lots of frustrations, and I'm not the only manager. So there's lots of us.
Looking at the week, Tuesday you've already touched upon. Obviously, busy day. 3 players in. What were your thoughts there? Yeah,
listen, our brief from when I met the chairman around Christmas time with Leon was we're never going to be going out and signing superstars and spending money like it's been getting spent at, say, a Gillingham or a Stockport or a Bradford. That's not our model. But our model was very clearly to come through the transfer window with a stronger group, so if someone does miss and you do get injuries and suspensions and that happens, then to make sure that the players that are going to come in, or if they go out and we've still got the ones we've got to come in, that we retain our strength and unity. And I think we've done that with the signings we've made. I think we're delighted to them all. And of course, our big boy who's come in as goalkeeper, that was unexpected because of what's happened to Tay, but I think we've had the prognosis now. We've had the scans after that. So Tay's certainly gone for a 3, but probably no longer than 4. So they've given us 3 to 4 weeks. The kid's back in the building today. If it can be done in 2 weeks, he'll be there in 2 weeks. But we're certainly saying around 3 weeks.
Have you got what you wanted and you're happy out of the window?
Yeah, listen, I don't think there's any doubts in my mind. The chairman's been absolutely fantastic. We've got everyone we wanted apart from the Chelsea lad. And 100 million was just a bit much for Phil Wallace. It's 105 million tipped to scales. No, we've done well. We inquired about one or two others that were potentially on the move that in the end didn't move. But we've always worked with the platform of first team squad of 21, 22. That's what we've come through the window with, and we're really pleased. So it's about good competition for places in the team, and that's what we've that's what we sought last July. That's what we sought in January, and that's what we've got.
The squad is actually bigger than it was before the window now. Is that indicative of the position you're in at the moment, and you've got a real serious assault ahead before the end of the season?
Yeah, I think we knew we were just 1 or 2 late. We weren't 3 or 4 late. I think the chairman's was, do we still run with that model, 20 to 22 players max? Mm-hmm. We've actually got 22 players, so and one of them injured. So from that point of view, we bang on the numbers where we wanted to be. And I just think the whole strategy for us was to make sure that with the run of games we've got, there's a lot of Saturday, Tuesdays now. Between now and the end of February alone, there's 6 or 7 games, or the 4th of March, 5. I think it's 5 out of 7 away from home. Tough, eh? So we're going to need the squad. And when we were at our best, we made 3 and 4 changes from Saturday to Tuesday just to keep that freshness in different positions. And that's what we'll be looking to do as we go forward.
And you've covered every position again. It's there's strength in each the division, isn't it? The defence, the midfield, and up front as well.
Yeah, listen, I think we've seen it at Stoke how much flexibility we've even got within the group without any new signings. Max Clark got a cut on his ankle at Stoke, so we took Max off and put Luther across and put Kane on, and there's an argument to say we were as strong, if not stronger. So, but now we've brought in Josh Reid that plays in that position. We've got Big JT who can play left or right side in the fullback positions as well. So we've got really good cover, and we had to have that. And it's not, is it cover or is it competition? We think it's competition, but we'll tell the boys today it's game on for starting shot every time we play now and earn the shot.
Tay Ashby-Hammond, that came out on Tuesday as well. What can you tell us about his injury?
He just tweaked his knee a little bit. He's got a little tear in his cartilage, which is, if I said it's a millimetre, that's what it is. But a millimetre is a millimetre, so it's a little tear which causes fluid, which causes stiffness and soreness. You could probably get through and just by treating it, but then the kid wouldn't be out every day on the training ground. So the prognosis between the consultants that on behalf of Fulham and consultants on behalf of ourselves, both spoke with their head of medical, with Matty, and the conclusion was a small op. So that'll be Monday or Tuesday, but the keyhole will be in and out. And I think post that it's 3 or 4 days off, and then bang, he goes back into training. But we're a gradual build up over the next 2 weeks.
Okay. So you've got 2 goalkeepers still. Do you know yourself which one of those 2 is going to be your starter?
No, I think it's game on. I think the big fella, Yogo, he's ready to play. He's been playing regular for Reading, for Insane, his games, 23 there below. He's stepped up and played for Exeter away at MK Dons last Saturday, and as Gary Codbo will tell you, down at Exeter they tried to almost get him, if you like. He's a standout custodian. I think I hijacked that bit before it in, so I think him and my relationship probably helped on that one. And the big fella was keen to come in terms of locality and where we are on the table. Obviously helps his decision. So he comes in and Aaron knows me. He competes with Aaron, and no doubt in the next number of days, if Aaron don't get the shot, he'll come in. But everyone has to earn it. You has to earn it. Aaron has to earn it. He'll be back in a month. Who gets it then? Let the best man win. I don't really care.
Another concern from last week was obviously Terence Van Kooten, but saying that Jonathan Tonkinson came in and was outstanding. Yeah,
we signed Jonathan almost as to cover anywhere across the back. I think we said it at the time, he could cover where Sweens has played, where Page has played, certainly where Terence has played as he come in. And to get pitched in and be a weight Stoke City under the cosh a bit, I think given the quality of their front players, I think he did really, really well. But I know what Norwich think of him. I know what the plans are for JT for next season, is to be part of their group, Premier League or Championship. So from our point of view, he's a great replacement. Terence has had his scan. He's a couple of weeks. He's not as bad as we probably thought it could have been. So he's a couple of weeks, but for that couple of weeks we'll miss him.
Full focus now on the league. Obviously, 20 games remaining. Starts on Saturday. Sutton United. That's a side who've had their problems this year, but seem to be finding their feet.
Yeah, I've got so much respect for the manager. I think he tried to evolutionise his team over the last 6 months from being a very rigid 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1. He set up in a way that they won a lot of games, they dominated a lot of games, they're very physical, they're powerful, tremendous. And I think they tried to evolutionise it. We got away a little bit more from that. But they brought it back, and we all try things as coaches, and we don't work the ability to bring it straight back. They signed the boy out on loan from Peterborough. They've gone back to the standard structure. This is a real tough game for us at Sutton, but every game's tough. We come out of Sutton and we have Bradford, we go to Newport and Stockport. They're all tough, but I know myself that if we come out of Rochdale on the 4th of March and we're in good shape, we'll be in very good shape. Not just good shape, we'll be in very good shape. But, when you look and you go 5 out of 7 away games in League Two, that's really, really tough.
You look at Matt Gray, and like you say, you have to admire him, don't you? The way that he goes about his business, some of the players he's brought in, he looks below the league and develops players, and that's essentially the basis of his side, isn't it? He's from non-league.
100%. So am I. So some of the best managers. You look around, some of the best ones are. But I've always had huge admiration for what's going on at Sutton from when I started picking them up, noticed them in the conference, and how comfortable they're winning games down to League Two, and they took it like a duck to water, didn't they? They were off, and they were great. And I love the way that they go and pluck an unknown, and suddenly he becomes every manager in League Two and League One. Suddenly, we like him, and so it's an ability that Matt and his staff have got. For me, they play football the right way. They're sporting gentlemen. They fight you on the sidelines. It's high for eye. But as we proved when we played here after the game, we're shaking hands and we're having a beer. So we get huge respect.
I've got to talk about it. The league table. Obviously, you've not played. Some sides have played twice since you've played, and all of a sudden the top's just changed a little bit, hasn't it? It's got a little bit tighter, albeit you've got games in hand. But Carlisle have come up and into the top 3 now from almost nowhere, and it's all of a sudden it's not a 3-horse race again. There's other clubs starting to get involved.
Yeah, I didn't think it was ever going to be a 3-horse race. I think we've seen Carlisle come. I think they've been absolutely outstanding. They've got a good manager, an experienced manager. They've spent really wisely in the window themselves. They've got a very competitive squad. I actually watched an eye play the game against Barrow. 5, could have been 12. That's the reality of it. That doesn't knock in that's happening at Barrow. So that's tough. You have Northampton who bounced. They got a great win. They just went and beat Barrow because they've had a great win. And then you look below that and you see a host of teams that you'd expect to be there. So this is never ever just going to be about Leyton Orient, Stevenage and Northampton. There's going to be 4 or 5 other clubs that are going to fight. If you're Mansfield, you want playoffs. If you're Stockport, you want playoffs. Swindon are talking playoffs. Walsall are talking playoffs. Bradford are talking playoffs. Doesn't stop, does it? But it's great for the league. But sidestepping all those clubs, I've not got to care who they play, who they don't play. We have to look after ourselves. We will earn promotion if we get promotion. No one will earn it for us. We'll earn it ourselves, and that's the only focus we'll have as a group. And we'll have bumps in the road, but reality is we're 12 unbeaten in the league. The reality is we're in a really good place. We're in a good place. We've got a couple of players that's gone down, but we're in a really good place who we're putting in the place. So we're in good shape.
Top 3 is obviously the target, but that top place as well, is that just an extra carrot for you, or is that just something that comes if it comes?
Well, we're just trying to stay close to Leyton Orient. We can't get near them. And we were lucky to beat them last week. It was at 3. Very fortunate to get a point over there. Listen, who they are, the one in the are. They've got good players. They've gone and signed an outstanding player, haven't they? From Bolton, outstanding player, and you have to respect what's going on at Northampton with John Brady. He just signed a top-class young striker from it. So I had a look at him until I realised that Josh March was available. We had a look, and we were tempted to do some, but when we understood that we were Josh's preferred choice of club, then that was easy for us. But you look at what's happening all around it, it makes it really tough. We're just trying to stay close to Leyton Orient. Everyone wants to be top of the league. And we love to be top of the league, but you have to be good enough to be top of the league because games in hand don't count for nothing. I don't see games. I never look at the games column when I look at the league table. I look at the points, and if you're doing all right, you look at the points, and some will tell you they don't look at the points, but they're normally in the bottom half, aren't they? That's just the way it is. But we're very focused on Sutton, that's it.
Well, nothing's changed for you though, really, has it? You've got 20 games left, 2 blocks of 10, and as we've been saying all season, you're looking at an average of 2 points from those 2 blocks.
Yeah.
So if you get them, plus what you've got in the bank at the minute, you've got a total that's, I think, won the league 10 times out of the last 11. So
yeah, I think this is. I think there's always pivotal spells in the season. I think for me, it's normally clubs that start right over the season do well. I think that's if you have a good first 10 or 12 games. And there'll always be the odd exception. I think a few years ago when Lee Johnson went in at Barnsley and they were bottom on Christmas Day or something, or second bottom, and got promoted via the playoffs. But they're one-offs. They're once 50 years ago, whenever it was. So we just have to be focused. We've started well. We had a little dip. We had a couple of games we weren't quite at it. We've come through that. We're 12 unbeaten. But every one of the next 7 or 8 games was real tough for us. Real tough, especially when you got so many on the road. But we're a strong group. We win at Sutton, we won't be singing. We lose at Sutton, we won't be crying. So we know the points that we have to get to guarantee ourselves promotion, and that means we've still got to win 50% of our games at a minimum. So, but if we do that, we'll be in League One.
Just finally going back to the transfer window, Josh Reid came in, but was there ever any doubt that would happen? Because it seemed to be stalling, and I know there was dominoes that had to fall elsewhere.
Bloody Matt Robbins. It was on, it was off, Robbo. And and we had fullbacks that put to us late in the day as well, but we kept going back to the model that we wanted to bring in to compete with Max, and the model that we wanted to bring in to compete with Max was preferably a young, somebody we could develop, somebody who was strong, really strong defensively, someone who was perhaps needing a loan, if that made sense. And Josh ticked every one of those boxes. So my referees were obviously managers in Scotland that played against the kid, but it was a couple of years ago when he played in the SPL, but people perhaps had the meaning of the standard up there, but to play 25 starts in the SPL when you're 18, 19, that gets you a big money move to Coventry. That's what that does. And then the competition at Coventry is really tough. Speaking to Cal McFadden, of course, who's at Coventry, and speaking to Matty Gordon, of course, Stevenage fans know Matty, and both says absolutely 1,000,000%. So that was enough for me. But Mark Robbins was essentially making sure that his squad was right, and that's Mark's job. And so it probably took until lunchtime on deadline day, just after lunchtime, for Robbo to clear it, and that's all we're waiting. And we acknowledge Robbo and of course we acknowledge NC as well.
What's he like as a player, Josh Reid? Because I've never seen him play before. I don't know him from Adam, but his body shape and his stature he reminds me of a scrappy player, someone who's going to bite your ankles and get you stuck.
Saxon.
Yeah,
Saxon Headley. That's who he reminds you of. No, we need to get him up to speed. The kid's played under 23 football. He spent a lot of time on the bench at Coventry, but on the bench you're watching. But if you're clever, you're learning. We didn't lose at Stoke City. We learnt lots. We did learn that we needed a referee just to give us the odd decision. But you learn lots, and I'm sure our players learn because they're playing against such good players led by a brilliant technician, Alex Neil. So, but yeah, we see Reedy as very much another Saxon. One will work weight times and develop. Some will play some weeks he won't get. But he has to get Max Clark shut, because if Max don't get a little nick in his ankle with a cut open his ankle on Sunday at Stoke, Max has been excellent in the last few games against Leighton Orient. He was outstanding. So he's got to get his shot.